friends, neighbors, and of course, the YouTube comments section. Hello, and welcome back. So, today, on the messy desk, I have a very interesting piece of gear to play with. I reached out to the fine folks at Rupert Neve Designs and asked them if I could have a demo unit of the 5045 primary source enhancer. And they very enthusiastically said, yes, of course. I've been very interested in this piece of gear for a while. Mixing Spirit, we've done a bunch of different venues that, have not necessarily been problematic with feedback, but, there is the ever popular, if you're in a big amphitheater, you can get away with a lot of things. When you take your amphitheater show file to a club, it's kind of a way different thing. As some of you have pointed out in comment sections previous, I am a bit judicious with equalization. And some of the reasons why we do that is just because that's what that particular venue requires. Enter this magic box. This is an intriguing piece of gear for two reasons. One is that in 2023, it's hardware, which is pretty interesting. Hardware aimed specifically at live sound. And the other thing is it is specifically designed to tackle the problem that I am having. And again, shout out to Greg and the team at Neve for sending this to me to play with. If I like it, I may buy one. That being said, it's not a cheap piece of equipment. So I am certainly not afraid to spend money on anything that especially is a problem solver, but definitely something that I wanted to play with. It does have a very long list of people that use this and say very, very good things about it. So I am assuming that it is probably awesome. But before we dig into this, I just wanted to make a quick sort of unboxing video that just sort of shows the feature set of it, my first impressions of looking at the box, and then going into what it actually does. So I have this piece of equipment for a month. I have two specific uses for it. One is as a post-production processor. I have a live recording that we did here at LM, live from LM, that has a lot of drum bleed in it. And I've been kind of dragging my feet with mixing it. I've tried RX on it. And even as good as RX is, it still is just not cleaning the vocal up as much as I would like. And it's a bit problematic. So I'm curious to see what post-production running the vocal through this particular box will do for me, and I think it'll probably do a nice job because we're basically asking it to do what its intended purpose is. The other thing is Spirit is playing a hometown show in Youngstown, Ohio, at a bowling alley. That's right. If you can play an amphitheater, you can play a bowling alley. So that rig has a very similar or a very, very standard club PA where there's two-way 15 cabinets rigged up on either side of the stage, hanging from the ceiling. And when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with not only a point source box. You're also dealing with the singer being very close proximity to that. So I figured if all of the guys that are using these on big high dollar tours can give you a demo of it in front of a line array, I can give you a demo at a bowling alley. So stay tuned for that video. So here is my first impression of how this piece of equipment works. This is me just very quickly skimming the manual. It's a Friday afternoon here, and this box literally just arrived. I still have paint on my hands from working at LM, and I just moved the project that I was working on my desk out of the way, and was like a child from Toy Story of saying, make a spot, this is where the spaceship lands. So anyway, here's what we've got going on. Per channel, you have this time constant knob. From what I have read, A is the slowest, F is the fastest. I believe that the manual says start at F and dial in. So this is when the processing takes place. You have a in-out processing gauge. There's a button here that says RMS, root mean square, or peak, so average, or if you just wanted to hit the peaks. Your threshold knob right here is at what point the process takes place, and depth is how much of the process you are getting. So it is the manual is not super in depth as to how this all works, so I'm assuming that it's pretty simple to use. So again, doing that from memory, I may be wrong about any of this, which I'm sure you will probably tell me. So this is available in a 2-channel version, which is the 5045 and a 1U chassis. It's also available as a 500 series, which on the 500 series, you get threshold and depth, but you don't get the time constant control. So, of course, me being me, I have to take everything apart. And here is what the board looks like. So this is pretty cool in here. These are some pretty meaty transformers. And on the side here, it does say R&D 2041 on each of the transformers, which is pretty cool. The other thing that I'm noticing on this board are these guys right here, which I'm guessing are probably a photoreceptor, which is very interesting, which is probably how the on-off process works. Again, my level of electronics aptitude, especially going down to the granular level on board-based components, is not very good. So, again, this is a pure, I wouldn't say novice, but above average novice looking at this. So I'm sure that any of you that are watching this that have real electrical understanding will correct or chime in, and I hope you do. So again, my baseline knowledge is that this is a photoreceptor, which is probably just how the process is triggered on and off with light. The famous piece of equipment that has a photoreceptor, of course, is an LA2A. And that is doing that. The other thing that I find interesting on this board is this right here. There's a battery on the board. I don't know what that does. There isn't any memory function on here. Again, somebody with a greater level of electrical knowledge can please chime in and speculate as to what that is. Other than that, very simple. Lots of caps. On the back here, line in, line out, XLR. The only other kind of thing that's a bit of a bummer is that it has the barrel AC adapter. So it comes with this guy, which again, like I get why they're doing that. It's it is better to have this transformer outside of the chassis for noise. It's a little bit less expensive to build because you don't have to have a shielded section for the power supply, and it just keeps the overall chassis down to a minimum. I get it. It just kind of sucks if you're wiring up a rack, and you have to find a home for this, which is just kind of a bummer. So again, is that a super huge miss? No. Would it be cool if it was an IEC? Yeah. That being said, the construction of this is very, very good. I mean, this is a 1/4-inch piece of steel that is on the front. The chassis is built really well. This is probably 063 gauge steel, if I had to take a guess, just based on the products that we build here at LM using very similar stuff. Again, I'm excited to get it home into the studio and turn it on and play with it. So again, watch out for another video coming on this. As far as the cost goes on it, retail street price on this is $1,900. It is a very expensive noise gate. That seems like a lot of cash. That being said, if you start to look at what I will say I have a new appreciation on rack mount equipment after running the integration department here at LM. This stuff is not easy to build. It is relatively expensive. So just as a comparator, we make a 1U box that houses power supplies for LEDs. And that 1U box with 4 D-punches on the back, an IEC inlet, and an on-off switch on the front costs us about $125 to make. And that's just black anodized, laser etched labels, nothing crazy. That's $125 for us to make that box. When you start to get into stuff like this, this is a fabricated front piece. Again, it's a 1/4 inch thick piece of steel that they have painted, and then I would guess that this is probably a silk screen. And then, once you get into that, I mean, I would guess that they probably have $200 and change dollars in the box construction alone, if we're being real, especially if they're not making these in the thousands and thousands and thousands. I think a lot of people get into cost comparators, and one of the things that can trip you up is just mass production. If you're making 1,000 or 1,000,000 of something, your manufacturing costs go really down. But if you're making a sort of an esoteric box like this, you have to build the chassis, you have to populate the circuit board, you have to do all those kind of things, not to mention R&D and all, and you're recouping from all of that kind of thing. That's where a lot of cost gets in. I mean, and again, on a very, very small scale of LM building, I/O panels and distros and things like that, I certainly have a better appreciation about, how much it costs just to build a chassis, source and components and accuracy and all of that other kind of stuff. So, again, even just looking at the build of this right now without hearing it, what I paid $1,900 for it, yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful piece of gear that's built really, really well. All of these pots in here are nutted. This is certainly a roadworthy piece of equipment, just pulling it apart and looking at it. The knobs are really awesome. They have like a rubberized kind of coating. I mean, listen, I would love to tell you guys that knob feel is meaningless to me. I would be lying. The first thing that I do going into any studio or buying any piece of equipment is twiddle the knobs, and it's like, ooh, that's a very satisfying knob. These are extremely satisfying knobs. If memory serves me correctly, the Neve gain pots on a 1073 is a Carnhill knob. I looked to see if it said that on this. I can't see it. It might be, but it definitely has that stepped feel like a Neve preamp. But anyway, this is the quick sort of unboxing, take the chassis apart sort of thing. Again, I'm going to use it in a way on my next video that is not manufacturer intended, of using it as a post-production session. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to leave a comment below. I have this machine, or I have this box for until about mid-December. So if there's anything that you would like me to do with it, let me know, because I'm interested in demoing it just as much as you may be interested in hearing it. Anyway, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.